Hello, and this is Delia again. I'm reading the Vampire Diaries, The Struggle. We are on chapter 13, chapter 12, and this is part 3. Elena has shown Damon the kitten that Margaret has. She said, "Here, Margaret, let's show your kitty to Robert's friend," she said, and thrust the fluffy bundle into Damon's face, all but throwing it at him. Pandemonium ensued. Snowball swelled to twice her normal size as her fur stood on end. She made a noise like water dropped on a red-hot griddle, and then she was a snarling, spitting cyclone that clawed Elena, swiped at Damon, and ricocheted off the walls before tearing out of the room. For an instant, Elena had the satisfaction of seeing Damon's night-black eyes, slightly wider than usual. Then the lids drooped down, hooding them again, and Elena turned to face the reaction of the other occupants of the room. Margaret was just opening her mouth for a steam engine well. Robert was trying to forestall it, hustling her off to find the cat. Bonnie had her back against the wall, looking desperate, and Matt and Aunt Judith, who was peering in from the kitchen, just looked appalled. "I guess you don't have a way with animals," she said to Damon, and took her seat at the table. She nodded to Bonnie, who reluctantly peeled herself off the wall and scuttled for her own seat before Damon could touch the chair. Bonnie's brown eyes slid around to follow him as he sat down in turn. After a few minutes, Robert reappeared with a tear-stained Margaret and frowned sternly at Elena. Matt pushed his own chair in silently through his eyebrows were in his hair. Matt pushed his own chair in silently, although his eyebrows were in his hair. Okay. As Aunt Judith arrived and the meal began, Elena looked up and down the table. A bright haze seemed to lie over everything, and she had a feeling of unreality. But the scene itself looked almost unbelievably wholesome, like something out of a commercial. Just your average family sitting down to eat turkey, she thought. One slightly flustered maiden aunt worried that the peas will be mushy, the rolls burnt, one comfortable uncle-to-be, and one golden-haired teenager niece, and her tow-headed baby sister, one blue-eyed boy next door type, and one spiritly girlfriend, one gorgeous vampire passing the candied yams. A typical American household. Bonnie spent the first half of the meal telegraphing "What do I do?" messages to Elena with her eyes, but when all Elena telegraphed back was nothing, she apparently decided to abandon herself to her fate. She began to eat. Elena had no idea what to do. To be trapped like this was an insult, a humiliation, and Damon knew it. He had Aunt Judith and Robert dazzled, though with compliments about the meal and light chat about Williams and Mary. Even Margaret was smiling at him now, and soon enough Bonnie would go under. Okay, and this was part 3, and I will continue to part 4.